we've been working really hard since our first flight to ensure that all of the crew systems on board are ready to go. We proved that the rocket performed well in our first flight 3 years ago, and now we've got to prove that the crew capsule, can perform all the things it needs to do to keep those astronauts safe as they leave Earth's gravity and come back into Earth's atmosphere 9 days later.
Mhm. Right. And so what kind of, preparation goes into this? I mean, how long have y'all been working on Artemis II? And because, this is a really big deal. And so, how long has this taken for y'all to, and I know it's still, preparation is still in the works, right?
Sure. Yeah, it takes really years to get to the point where we can build a rocket, and then it takes about a few months to put that rocket together. We are working in parallel on the rockets for the Artemis 2, 3, 4, and 5 missions. So we've got multiple rockets in production right now to get us to the moon and ultimately to land a crew on the moon in 2028. And
Hmm.
so it took about 8 months to put this rocket together down at Kennedy Space Center in the Vehicle Assembly Building. And since the first flight, we've been practicing all of the launch operations multiple times. We've been practicing contingency plans. If something goes wrong, what do we do in terms of the launch and in terms of the capsule reentry when it comes back into the atmosphere? This capsule is coming back in at 40 times the speed of sound into the atmosphere. It's going to experience very high temperatures, and we've got a heat shield that's going to protect the astronauts and make sure that they land safely. So we've been practicing all these procedures over and over to make sure that we are very focused and ready.
Right, yeah. And I want to also talk a little bit about the astronauts as well. Y'all sent in some video to, or some pictures, and these are the people that are going to be going up there. It's four of them. I'm so glad to see a woman involved as well. And just talk about the preparation that they also have to go through in order to get on this thing and spend time, up in outer space.
Oh, absolutely. The astronauts have been training for this mission for several years now, over 2 years. They are, all four of them, very talented. We also have a backup crew of two astronauts, one Canadian and another American astronaut. Um, and so all six of them really have been practicing for this mission for years to get ready for this really complex mission. This is a test flight, and so the astronauts understand that it's not a routine. There's going to be nothing routine about this. They need to be ready for anything that can happen, and so they've been practicing for all kinds of different scenarios. Um, we've got a commander, a pilot, and two mission specialists on board. So they each have slightly different roles and responsibilities on this flight. But as a team, I've been lucky to see them interact through all of the simulations we've been running, and they are incredibly talented, um, fast thinkers, problem solvers. They know they've got a big team on the ground helping them every step of the way, but in the end, they're the ones doing the taking the risk and doing the heavy lifting, and it's they're doing a tremendous job. It's really fascinating to watch them train for this mission, and I can't wait to see them go around the moon, take a good look at the far side of the moon, and then come back safely on Earth.
All right, yeah. And, you mentioned going around the moon. They're not actually landing. So, talk about the importance of this trip, why y'all are making this trip, and, what you hope to find out from this mission around the moon and back.
Sure. Yeah. Well, the reason we are not having them land yet is because we need to make sure that this crew capsule can do all the things that it's supposed to do to keep a crew alive for 10 days approximately. That's a long time to be inside a capsule. They
Yeah.
need to have enough oxygen, enough water, enough food, and all the systems need to work together to make sure that these astronauts are kept safe. And so it's the an interesting thing we're doing during this mission is that we're taking them into Earth orbit and we're going to check out all the systems on board in Earth orbit before we send them to the moon. Once we are sure everything's going to be working well, we're going to fire what's called a translunar injection burn that's going to send them to the moon. And at that point, there's no coming back until they get back around the moon and come back to Earth. And so we're taking these steps, very meticulous steps, to make sure that we understand the machine, we understand how it's performing before taking any more risk with the crew.
Right. Yeah. It's great to hear all of the preparations and, the seriousness to which y'all take these missions. And I actually want to take a look here at the live camera that NASA has on YouTube. This is, of Artemis, right, of the ship. And
Right.
so this is live. You can see this anytime on YouTube. But talk to us about what we're seeing here, and what the astronauts will see as well when they get on there.
Absolutely, yes. So you're seeing the Space Launch System rocket on the launch pad with the mobile launch tower. It that took it from the vehicle assembly building all the way to the launch pad a few weeks ago, and you're seeing a rocket here that's recovering from what we call a wet dress rehearsal that happened yesterday. We, for the first time, filled this rocket full of rocket fuel, which is liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. I'm sorry. And so that was a very long test, arduous test yesterday. It was partially successful. We were able to fully fill this rocket with hundreds of thousands of gallons of cryogenic fuel. Cryogenic means it's a very, very cold fuel. We learned some things. We know we've got a few things to fix. No big showstoppers, and so over the next few weeks, we're going to fix those issues, and we'll be ready to give it a launch attempt in March, I believe.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. And so you're now shooting for March. Is it, early March, late March, or just kind of test as you go?
So, in order to get to the moon, we've got to hit a particular launch window. In March, the window opens March 6th and it closes March 11th. So, if we're ready by March 6th, we would give that a first launch attempt. But then, if we can't make it within that window, then we've got another window in April, and then another window, in May. So it's about a 5-day window every month.
Okay, gotcha. And so are the astronauts continuing to train through this, as it continues to go and up until launch?
Absolutely, yeah. We're always training. The astronauts are always training. They have to be in quarantine for a couple weeks before launch, so they can come out of quarantine now and spend some more time with their families before they have to go back into quarantine 2 weeks before launch. And even when they're in quarantine, they're practicing procedures and training and doing all those things. So there's no stopping until we get them back safely.
Right, absolutely. And, as many of us know, there was a recent NASA mission in which, astronauts were up in space a little longer than they were supposed to. Was there anything that y'all learned from that mission that you're taking into account with this one?
Yeah, that was an issue with a different spacecraft than the one we're developing here. Of course, we try to learn lessons wherever we can. There's certainly lessons that we've built rolled into this mission, but these issues are very specific to the type of spacecraft they were using. So, in general, it's more about making sure that one lesson that we can use everywhere is making sure that if we see something wrong, we look into it and we try to fix the problem. because we can't leave anything up to chance when it comes to human spaceflight. In general, that's how we approach human space flight, and it goes the same for moon travel.
Right. And do you know how much it costs to do a mission of this scale?
That's a great question. It's not my area of expertise. I'm an engineer, so I don't do well with money. But um,
Yeah, me neither.
I,
I don't do numbers.
it's there's I think something like that you would have um, to ask someone that's more in line with the budget and those types of numbers. But it's in the grand scheme of things, doing hard things like this is always going to cost, you know, money. And over the course of the program, the life cycle of this program, it's been billions of dollars. But when you think about it, anything that complex is going to cost billions of dollars.
Right.
When Boeing develops a new airliner, it's billions of dollars, and it's an airliner that looks a lot like the previous airliner. Here we're doing something completely new, so it's always going to cost money. But in the grand scheme of things, it's an investment in humanity, because we're discovering things, we're exploring, we're bringing science back to Earth, and figuring out how to make life on Earth better in the end. So I think in general the public probably sees this as a good investment.
Right. Yeah. Regardless, it takes a lot of pieces and a lot of time to get it right. And so I know that this is a step in the direction of actually landing on the moon, getting to the moon, and possibly other planets as well. What are the benefits of, one day landing on the moon and being able to study it?
Yeah. So, the ultimate scientific goal is to be able to land on Mars one day, to understand really what happened with Mars' atmosphere, how life existed, how it went away, from a scientific perspective. But before we can do that, there are a lot of challenges to getting to Mars. It's very far away. It's a 3-year mission. There are lots of issues we haven't solved yet in terms of sending humans to Mars. We've sent robots very successfully in the past decades, but sending humans is a big deal. So we want to be able to learn all those things on the moon, which is in our backyard, really, only a few days away. If we have an issue, we can bring the astronauts back very quickly. And so we want to learn all those things on the moon, on the surface, while also performing some scientific experiments. And just recently, we found that there's ice water at the poles of the moon in craters that have never seen the sun. And so with this ice water, we can figure out how to harvest it, how to melt it, and then with ice water, of course, you've got water, but you also have rocket fuel. The fuel that we spent all day yesterday filling the Space Launch System rocket with is oxygen and hydrogen, and that's what makes up water. So with that ice water, we can make rocket fuel, and so there's a lot of things that we're going to try to learn to do on the moon. Humans have always explored since way back, and I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon.
Right. Yeah, it's so fascinating. It sounds like an incredible job. I'm super jealous. It's awesome. But thank you so much for joining me. Was there anything else you wanted to add or touch on?
No, absolutely. Thank you for your time. I feel very fortunate to be part of this very large team. And when we launch these astronauts around the moon, that'll be something that the general public can be very proud of, that we're doing as a country, and as humanity, really.
Right. Yeah, I'm super excited to see that, as I know a lot of people are. Will definitely be watching and staying tuned on that. And we're also going to be live streaming the NASA press conference coming up here in just a few minutes at 1 o'clock. So stay tuned for that. Again, Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.